Welcome to the family with
Andy Brandt Bernard.
Ralphie's not here. He's still on vacation. Catherine is not here because she's still ill. She might come in, but I doubt that she didn't.
She said she was going to yesterday, but I don't know. We'll see.
Plus, I think Jude got hurt or something too. So maybe
Jude got hurt.
His right rear leg is kind of hobbling around on it. I don't know what that. He jumped off the bed. I think maybe. I don't know what he was doing, but so she might not be in and out. I know Alex has teaching duties to take care of, but I do believe we have Kostaki and Tim Lammers on with us today, which is a good thing.
As far as I know.
I believe that's probably true. I got to ask you something. Now, Andy lives in the exurbs, not even the suburbs, but the exurb. Would you call it an exurb or just a small town? Or
I don't know. What's the difference between exurb and rural?
Yeah,
versus rural. Let's see here. Let's see. It's basically like depends on who you ask.
No, I suppose, yeah.
It's debatably rural.
Debatably. Do you remember? Well, first of all, let me ask. Does the yellow used to be called Schwann's delivery service? Did they deliver to your neighborhood?
I've seen them around, yes.
Okay, because they're going out of business.
Yeah, I've heard. Well, we used to get them in Dayton.
Well, that's how I was going to ask my next question. Remember that thing used to park down at the end of our driveway about once a week?
I remember, yeah, we'd get ice cream.
You get lots of ice cream from the Schwann's.
We had a big freezer chest in our garage, and it was always full of ice cream from Schwann's.
It was always, and I mean full of ice cream. It wasn't just a few things. It was full of ice cream.
Yep. No more, apparently.
Yeah, unfortunately. I don't even know. I haven't looked at the story to see what the 72 years they were around. I guess people just don't do that food delivery
business. Why did they rebrand to Yellow?
I don't know. It's a terrible name.
It's a horrible name, for one. And for two, everyone knows what Schwann's is. Yeah, they rebranded to Yellow in 2022 and then died almost immediately after. It's like, I don't know.
Oh, apparently the Schwann's name lives on in frozen foods after a South Korean company bought that part of the business in 2019. So I guess you can still buy at the grocery store, I guess.
So the delivery, the Yellow thing and the frozen foods part are different?
Yeah, I'm looking at the Schwann's truck and it still says Schwann's on the back of the truck. So I don't know what that's all about.
Schwann's Home Service was rebranded to Yellow.
Oh yeah, there's a truck.
But the company that makes the food is still Schwann's. So
in Sioux Falls.
All right then.
Right, they're still
Marshall.
In Sioux Falls. Oh, they're in Marshall, Minnesota. That's where it started.
Yeah, they're headquartered in Marshall.
Well, there you go. Schwann's planning massive Asian food plant and corporate office in Sioux Falls, though. Apparently they
did get bought by Koreans, so
that would make sense. Absolutely.
That would make sense by the CJ Cheiljedong Corporation, if I pronounce that right.
You damn right. But yeah, I always like Schwann's, and so that doesn't go on much anymore in the city. I know that. But
no, everyone just does DoorDash now.
That's true. They do DoorDash.
Way expensive, but people still do it.
Oh, is it DoorDash is really expensive?
I haven't done it in years because it's just not worth it.
So just running down there to pick it up is better?
Yeah, it basically doubles the cost of anything. You want to order a $20 burger from a place, you're going to be paying $40 for it for DoorDash.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't get why people do that.
Why would they almost double the price? That makes no sense.
Well, you have to pay the driver gets a cut, the company gets a cut. You end up tipping the driver. Yeah.
I suppose. I don't know, but I always like that the Schwann's truck coming to our house, and as Andy's not kidding, that deep freezer chest was full of ice cream.
Sure was. I remember.
Those were the days, Andy, living out on the farm. I bet you guys wish we had never sold that farm, huh?
I mean, in a way, yeah, but in another way, it's like, the reason I think. Well, a big part of the reason I think I liked living out there is because I was a kid,
Yeah. Absolutely.
As an adult, you can't just have a chest full of ice cream and eat it all day because bad things happen.
Yeah, I suppose I didn't know you guys ate it all day, though. Now finding that out's a difference.
Well, as a kid, of course.
You guys just went and hit it hard, did you?
Oh, all the time. I was eating ice cream multiple times a day. But I mean, we also ran around the farm all day, so it's like,
that's true.
We still stayed quite thin.
That is very, very true. Oh my God. Heavy rains pelt the Cayman Islands at southeast United States, prepares for a major hurricane. That's going to be on the west coast of Florida, from what I understand, up and kind of up toward Tampa, the way it looks on the screen here. But yeah, that's that time of the year. We got what, September 24th today. So for the next basically 5 weeks, we're going to hear about hurricanes again.
Yep.
What is it? A temperature change thing? What is it about this time of the year in hurricanes?
Yeah, it's the temperature change.
It is temperature change.
Yep. Hot meets cold that causes wind. Sometimes that wind just starts spiraling.
You know, that's really unfortunate about that. There are a lot of places like southern Florida, or all of Florida, I guess, where hurricane insurance is very, very difficult to get, from what I understand.
I'm sure.
I mean, that's really unfortunate that that's the situation, but
well, it's like the houses in Japan are they're well known for being not of great build quality. That is because for hundreds and hundreds of years they built their houses out of paper, and probably every year, maybe multiple times a year, Tokyo would just burn down. You know, someone's house lights on fire, the fire spreads, everything burns. So they were just like, we'll just build houses cheap and quick so they're easy to replace. And that's kind of how things are like in the Keys, because every 5-10 years, you know, that area gets flattened. So it's like, why build a nice, ornate, expensive house when you're just going to have to, you know, it's going to get blown away.
Yeah. Well, it does make total sense.
If you live in a disaster-prone area, it makes sense to just build that way.
But paper, I mean, building a house out of paper, that's a good idea.
That was wooden paper. Yeah, they had their walls were made out of paper. Because paper is easy to make. You can make a wall out of paper in no time at all.
Yeah, but it's also easy to burn down or get blown away, isn't it?
Japan doesn't. Well, I mean, they do have hurricanes, I believe. I think they're called typhoons over there. I don't really know, but it's not quite the same. They're mostly worried about things like tsunamis. And tsunamis, that's one of the reasons that they were built so cheaply and easily in the first place, is because a tsunami, no matter what your building's made out of, a big enough one of those, it's going to knock it over.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, it's like if a tsunami like the Fukushima one hit New York City, that whole city would be gone. So it's like, why build like that if you really can't?
No, it makes total sense. I wanted to get to this story because I've been thinking about, and I brought it up a few times in the last couple of years, why people are getting so big in America. I mean,
probably Schwann's chests.
You think that's what it was?
Freezer chests full of Schwann's ice cream.
Yeah, probably. Obesity is high and holding steady in the U.S., but the proportion of those with severe obesity, especially women, and I brought that up and people got pissed off at me too. I said, why are so many women getting so heavy?
It's been that way for a long time.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, but I was just asking why. When I was a kid, though, there were not very many big women. There were maybe a couple per neighborhood, but really not a lot.
It's because everyone's sedentary now.
But did the pills and all the stuff they're taking, to prevent pregnancy and all that stuff?
That could be a big part of it.
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
Messing with their hormones and everything.
Messing with their hormones. Well, that's exactly what I'm talking
about. If you think about it, people are always like, I'm going through menopause, so I gained a bunch of weight, or, I got PCOS, so I gained a bunch of weight. These pills do basically the same thing. They mess with your hormones. And if you going through menopause can make you gain weight, then why not chemically induced menopause?
And look, I'm not trying to embarrass anybody here or to say it's bad that you've gained all this weight and all the rest of it, because if you had no control of it because of things like the drugs you're taking, then, I mean, that's not, I'm just talking about how unhealthy it is to allow this to be continuing on. So somebody must be making a ton of money from it, because otherwise they'd take care of it.
Birth control pills, they probably make $1 trillion a year.
There you go. Obesity is high and holding steady in the U.S., but the proportion of those with severe obesity, especially women, has climbed since a decade ago, according to a new government research. The U.S. obesity rate's about 40%. I mean, now you're talking about a guy here that just lost 91 pounds, about to lose another 8, 9, 10, get down to 101 pounds that I've lost. So, I had a lot of weight to lose myself. According to a 2021-2023 survey of about 6,000 people, nearly 1 in 10 of those surveyed reported severe obesity. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention found women were nearly twice as likely as men to report severe obesity. So it's got to be the medication, don't you think?
I think that's a big part of it, yes.
The overall obesity rate appeared to tick down versus the 2017-20 survey. But the change wasn't considered statistically significant. The numbers are small enough that there's mathematical chance that didn't truly decline. That means it's too soon to know whether new treatments for obesity, including blockbuster weight loss drugs such as Wegovy and Zepbound. I've not heard of Zepbound.
Zepbound.
I have no idea what that even is.
I think he was the Lost Marks brother.
Yeah, there you go, Zeppo. Can help ease the epidemic of the chronic disease linked to a host of health problems, according to Dr. Samuel Emmerich, the CDC public health officer who led the latest study. We simply can't see down to that detailed level of prescription medication use and compare that to changes in obesity prevalence, Emmerich said. Hopefully that is something we can see in the future. Now, I disagree. If a guy like me walking down the street can say, no, there is no way women used to be this big, you would see once in a while a very large woman because of obesity.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's really prevalent. Well, 40% they're talking about now. It's got to be something like drugs or something like that. It's not just eating.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't know. The story does go on and on and on, talk about the different situations, but the new study found that obesity rates varied by education. Almost 32% of people with a bachelor's degree or higher reported having obesity, compared to about 45% of those with some college or high school diploma or less. So that's amazing. 32% of the bachelor, almost half of the ones with some college or high school diploma or less.
Oh, it doesn't make any sense because Taki's completely uneducated and he's in good shape.
Yeah, and he's thin as a rail.
I can't believe he lost 90 pounds.
91, yeah, so far, and I'm going to lose 101.
Goodness gracious. I guess I haven't seen you since this happened, right?
No, you have not. And one thing's causing me a problem that I'm going to have to adjust to, and I guess lose the rest of the weight and then worry about it. I started lifting weights again.
Yeah.
And the weird thing about that is you are going to put on some weight because, muscle builds by holding on to everything you put in there.
Right.
So I've gained a few pounds while working. I still walk 6, 7, 8 miles a day. So that's not it. Lifting weights does burn a lot of calories. So that's not it either. And the other part of it that kind of pisses me off, and I don't know why it would be, and maybe it's the system, is that the 3 pounds I gained, half of it was considered fat, but there is no way that would have been fat. So I don't know how it reads that. Andy, any idea why it would read it as half fat?
I don't know how accurate those things
Yeah,
really
well, that's
are.
what I'm wondering. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. But yeah, so I gotta get back off the weights for at least a while, drop the last 8, 9 pounds that I want to lose, and then I'll look at it but it appears if I'm going to lift weights, I'm going to have to fight this thing constantly for the rest of my life, for Christ's sake.
It does seem like that's it's not a short-term fix, any of these things, right? You got to kind of do it forever.
No, you got to do it forever. And did you realize that almost half of women in certain, like, once again, maybe not as highly educated as others, almost half of them are severely overweight or obese now?
Yeah, that's crazy. I was, when you were talking about it, I was thinking, is that processed foods? Is the sedentary nature of life? Is it that you can get your $20 burger delivered to your face without having to get out of the house?
Yeah, a big part of it. Yep.
The $20 burger that used to be $1. You mean that one?
Yeah. Is it the chemicals in the things that we're eating?
Yep.
Well, it's not just America too.
No, it's not.
Pretty much every nation on earth is significantly more obese than they were 10, 20 years ago.
Yep.
Even the ones you consider like India, they have a lot of problems with starvation and hunger, but their obesity rate is, let's see, India obesity rate. It went from 1% in 1990 to 10% in 2022 for women.
There you go.
So 10 times in 30 years.
Yep.
Wow.
That's amazing.
So the whole world is just getting more obese, and it's not a problem with the West. It's a problem that affects everyone. And so it's got to be either pharmaceutical or whatever's in the food, or maybe just because there's more food now, it's easier to get food.
Yeah, but you have to eat a lot of food to put on 100 pounds, for God's sake.
Well, I mean,
Jesus, that's a lot of eating.
It's just habits over time, right?
Yeah, it is.
Any little bit of a, tweakable habit that goes long run. I wonder if it's about, lifestyle over the course of, when you're a kid.
Yeah.
When Tom Bernard was a kid, there wasn't Nintendo and, you were outside running around and.
Yeah, the only thing to do for fun was flee from wolves and bandits.
Yeah, exactly. No question.
Push the wagon out of the mud. Like physical activities.
No, but things have changed. So a kid growing up now has a completely different experience as a child in setting those lifelong habits. They're not out running amok in the backyard the way they used to.
Right.
So
what's going on in your world, Buster?
I'm good. I'm good. Running around watching football and chasing my kids and telling jokes. Life's good.
You mean soon to be Super Bowl champion Vikings? Is that what you're saying?
3-0, baby.
3-0, baby.
That's crazy.
I'm telling you, they look good too, and not just lucky wins. They look really good.
Right. Sam Darnold. He's like that girl in the teen movie. Where she takes her glasses off and suddenly she's hot. You're like, wait,
yes.
You were here the whole time.
Yep.
No one's more surprised than Vikings fans, right? You guys are baffled. It's like when Prince changed his name to that symbol. You're like, wait, what? How do you?
Glyph. Wasn't it called Glyph?
Yep, the Glyph.
That's what.
Is that right?
Yes.
Wait. That's the name of that symbol, or that's the name of that kind of a thing?
Well, he called it the Glyph. So it's like, I guess technically both.
Like a hieroglyph? Like he nicknamed it that?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Let's see. I wonder, maybe he had a different pet name for it. Let's see. I wonder. They're just called the Prince symbol or the Glyph.
The Glyph
didn't seem to have an actual word for it. Oh wait, that's right. They did give it a name later. Love symbol number 2.
Oh, isn't that sweet?
Mm-hmm. I have heard about that.
What's
it was
the
copyrighted as. That's a good question. What was love symbol number 1?
Uh-oh. It's this. Anyway. No, that was nasty.
Okay, then.
Getting back to Kostaki,
so the Vikings beat the Titans, who are off to a rough start. Here's an old reference. Tennessee hasn't been this embarrassed since the Scopes monkey trial.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
Although the Titans offense is a poor argument for evolution.
True.
Well, evolution happens over time. You got to give it a couple million years.
Eventually. Nashville is the music city, but the song right now is more of a funeral march. Team's not good.
See?
At least a bad team in Nashville has plenty of people who can write sad songs about them, right?
That's exactly.
I lost my dog. I lost my wife. My football team sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like Washington found a quarterback last night. I don't know if you saw any of that game.
No.
Man. He looked great. Rookie Heisman Trophy winner. That team's going to be good someday. In the meantime, they beat the Bengals.
Ooh.
Who, Super Bowl contending. We expected a lot out of the Bengals. They're 0-3.
Yeah. Yep.
Cincinnati hasn't been this miffed since WKRP dropped live turkeys out of a helicopter. Remember that reference?
I always thought turkeys could fly.
Yes.
One of the greats of all. I love that show, WKRP in Cincinnati. I was like, well, I'm a disc jockey. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah, of course. Wait, were you a disc jockey at the time or before or after?
Before
chronology
and
there.
after.
Okay.
Well, during, I think, when did it start? It's what, how old is it? Like 50 years old this week?
Got to be about right. 1978. So yeah,
very
almost.
Close. Very
my
close.
Goodness gracious.
So yes, I was matter of fact, in 1978, I was working at WAPE in Jacksonville, Florida.
Wow.
So there you go.
Now, sometimes when I watch a movie or a show about comedians, there'll be something where I go, well, that's not, the punchline famously has they go downstairs at the club and all the comedians have lockers. Never seen that ever once.
No.
That's not a thing. Did you watch WKRP sometimes and you're like, well, that's not what the program director does, whatever the radio things from the inside? Did you go, was it good at what it was?
Unrealistic.
No, it was really good because about 90% of the general managers I ever worked for, thinking that it was foot powder, spraying cocaine on his feet, finding out it was cocaine, and then saying, and I quote, "I've got a monkey on my foot." Which is a pretty good line, actually. Your foot is addicted to cocaine all of a sudden.
Well, it suggests he thinks that you do cocaine by sprinkling it on your back. You got a monkey on your back.
Well, there is that. I got a monkey on my foot. I got a monkey on my back. Well, the monkey on the back, I think, is just alcohol, drugs, all of it.
Well, yeah.
I think. I'm not sure, but I think that's probably it. But no, WKRP was a damn good show. As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly was a great line.
That's a great line. That's a funny, like whenever I think about that episode, I think of the writer's room or the writer that came up with that idea and excitedly ran in and pitched it. Like it's such a simple concept, but it's so like, it's like, the ping of a perfect golf, it's like, oh, that's what sitcoms are supposed to be.
Well, it's like The Office, it's just like office life satirized. Very, very simple. It's been done a billion times before, but they got it just right that it resonated with pretty much everyone who watched it.
Now, was that the only radio show, Tom? Was there anything else that was built around a radio station or radio?
Well, there was Frasier, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
KACL 780 talk radio.
Cackle.
Yep, KACL. KBBL was the Simpsons one. I was going to say that. But.
KBBL.
K-Babble.
Kababble. Yeah, okay, I get it. No question about it. Yeah, that's true. We had you had Frasier, you had WKRP, and well, first of all, what was his name? Johnny Fever.
Johnny Fever. Yeah.
Johnny Fever was a great character. That was a hell of a good character.
Oh, don't forget News Radio.
News Radio.
That was a really good one.
Yep, that was good too.
Mm-hmm. But those are like the only three big ones.
Probably, yeah.
And I mean, imagine doing that now. People would be like, "What the hell's a radio station?"
Well, radio is interesting. What that whole. Well, I'm talking about in-town marketing, television, radio, all of it. It's just not what it used to be.
Right. Yeah, Tom, you and I have talked about this. Here's an example. I was on my elevator here in Los Angeles in my building, and I was wearing a shirt that sort of referenced radio. And a kid, turns out he's 24. We started talking about radio, and I go, "Where are you from, man?" He goes, "Indianapolis." And I go, "Oh, Bob and Tom." And he never heard of Bob and Tom.
Never heard of him.
He's 24 years old. The kids today don't listen to terrestrial radio. They listen to whatever's in their pockets.
Podcasts. Yep, that's the main one.
Things have changed dramatically over the years. The way people, drink in the media. It's a ever evolving machine. That's for sure.
Well, I suppose TV stations are there for the local news, and that's about it.
Yeah,
right?
Pretty much.
Right. Yeah. It's a moving ball. I've been like trying to find another media that's that I'm loving. It's hard. I've always loved radio. It's funny. I've succeeded in radio, and I did very well for a while in greeting cards. So I'm gonna look at Morse code and see if I can get it.
Yeah, get the greeting cards, Morse code, all of that good stuff.
So does Zine.
Really working hard, no question about it. Yeah, it is so amazing. You look at there's one Kmart left, and that'll be gone in October. Sears has pretty much just disappeared. I mean, look at all the things that have just that were present in. I mean, even Andy in your youth that aren't even around anymore. I mean, it's pretty amazing. A lot of that stuff is just going away.
Yeah, things shift. I mean, that's like anything. It's an evolving, moving economy, and it morphs and changes. And part of the game. You remember that book, Who Moved My Cheese? Remember that?
My cheese. God, that's a while ago.
Yeah. So the premise of that book is, you're in a maze and you go back to the same place in the maze and you get the cheese. And someday somebody moves the cheese to a different part of the maze, and then you're pissed about it. Like, it's your job to figure out the maze, dude. Like,
right.
So it's my job as the comic to figure out the different media and, find a way to use it to reach my ends and reach the masses and talk to the people. But yeah, they're moving my cheese, man.
So what are they going to do with all those outlets? I mean, seriously, what the hell are they going to do with all of those places?
That's a good question. I don't know. I have a buddy who's in it's kind of a family business. They're in the commercial real estate business, and it's crumbling. It's falling apart because people are realizing they can work from home. Businesses.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Businesses can save that money, and so in that case, what's happening in some cases is they're transitioning those properties into places to live instead. Right?
Oh, okay.
Lofts. They're renting them as apartments as opposed to office spaces because people aren't using offices in the way that they did 10 years ago. The pandemic told us all that we could just stay home and work.
But there's a problem there too, because okay, you want to stay home and work, that's fine. Yeah, I've also decided I only want to work 3 days a week.
Yeah, sure. Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a new cast of problems that comes with it, right?
No question. No doubt about that. But, they still want the money and all the rest of it, but they just don't want to put any time into it. And that's not how things get done.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Eagles running back Saquon Barkley.
Saquon.
He's good. He's slippery. Not 1,000 bottles of baby oil slippery, just regular slippery. 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
Yeah. What was that all about?
Is he shops in bulk? He's got big plans for the weekend. What? I don't know.
But I mean, crazy. Why 1,000 bottles of baby oil?
That's I don't know. I've never been in a situation where that would be required.
Were they going to fill up the tub and float around in there? Is that what this was?
Here's a tip, guys. If your lady needs that much baby, she's not that into you. That's
yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that as an argument, no question about it.
Diddy's favorite football teams, I'm just guessing here, the Oilers and the Packers. Just guessing.
Thank you. You got some oil and you got some packing.
Where's Catherine when I'm doing the boyish comedy? I think she loves it the most.
She'll be back, I think, next week. She's been sicker than hell for like a week.
Oh, really?
Really bad cold.
Ethan's got it now.
Oh, now he's got it.
Yeah,
but not from Nana.
No, I don't think so. I think he got it from school.
Yeah, school will do it. No question about it. But yeah, it just, I don't know, man. I just look at the world now and I go, I can't. But what once again, somebody was asking me, and I can't remember who the hell they were related to, if I had a phone book. I'm like, what?
A phone book?
When's the last time you got a phone book? About 10 years ago?
It's been forever.
Cannot even remember the last time I've opened a phone. It's got to be almost 20 years.
I bet it has to be. You're right.
I saw a clip of some NFL rookies, and they hand them a VHS tape and ask them what it is.
Oh, God.
They have no idea.
Not a clue what that
is. And their guesses were hilarious. Like, is this a DVR player? Like, they kind of know some of the language from way off in the distance, but they can't figure out what it is.
I was trying to think. It was about 1973, 74 when the VHS blew up. That's about right, wasn't it? The early 70s, or was it mid 70s?
Oh, wow. I'm going to guess later, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's got to be mid, maybe even late 70s.
Maybe even late 70s. Because, looking at that whole, because I got one as a Christmas gift from Capitol Records. They gave me a VHS player. which is about the size of a Volkswagen Beetle.
Right.
The thing was gigantic. I mean, it was huge.
Comes up the top and then out.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. You rise up. But I mean, honest to God, I look at that, and that thing weighed a ton too.
Yeah.
Came as you remember that one, Andy? You remember? You must remember.
I remember the VHS players and everything. You had that thing forever.
Yeah, for a long time. Oh, God. Well, when we moved, we just moved a few months ago now. When we moved, I gave away, I think, like 2,000 DVDs.
Wow.
Because you don't have any use for them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
right.
There's no reason to have them. DVD, I thought, well, that's got to be Betamax and DVD. Right. That's got to be. Nothing will ever be better than that.
This is the end of the line on this technology. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. I remember thinking that, like, well, can't get better than this tiny thing.
Well, no, that's exactly right. That's exactly what we believe. And now it's like, okay, that's good. That's wonderful. But you think of that whole situation. I mean, lucky I was in the business, so I got a lot of gifts and all the rest of it. But I mean, a couple of thousand of those things, that's, what is it, about 10 grand? That's
a
lot of dough.
Back then, when you first bought them.
Yeah.
Yeah. You build a library that in your head lasts forever. Right.
It's true. And now all you got to do is just go on, what is it now? It's no longer Voodoo. It's now, what is it?
Oh, yeah. They changed the name.
VUDU.
Yeah, it used to be Voodoo.
And now it's something else.
Yeah.
It starts with an F.
Fandango.
There it is. That's what it is.
Yep.
But you can get every movie ever made on there.
Yeah. Well, you should. It should be centralized.
Right.
That kind of thing makes sense. That grows and morphs and changes into being easier to use. Yeah. I for years in my career, I sold CDs of my sets, and it helped me. It helped me tremendously, especially when I was a middle act flying to gigs.
Oh, sure.
That's over. I found a little pile of them recently, and I took some out on the road to try to sell them. Like, does anybody have an old truck? Anybody?
Exactly.
People don't even have a way to play them, even if they want to.
Yeah, you're right. There's no way to play them any longer.
Yeah, we had a CD with like pictures on it, I think, that we needed to transfer, and we were like, we have no way of getting these pictures.
I don't.
We had to buy a USB CD player,
and plug it into
an
external drive and plug it in.
Yep, exactly. Because like we just didn't. And we had I found some old VHS tapes in my parents' house when they moved out, and I was like, I have literally no way to know what's on these, so I had to. I also luckily found an old VHS player in their house, so I ended up. But the way I had to hook it up to a modern TV is super weird. You have to plug it into the antenna port, and then you have to spoof the VHS player as if it's a TV channel. So you have to tell your TV that this VHS player, this is channel 3. It's a TV channel, but it's actually the VHS player or the VCR pretending to be a TV channel.
God, isn't that amazing?
It's like, it's 30 years of tech, imagine trying to use something from the 1950s on 1980s tech.
Right.
Probably impossible.
Well, I'm thinking back at that thing now. When Capitol Records gave me that VHS player for Christmas all those years ago, I found out by going, because somebody else said, "Oh my God, I want to get one of these." And I said, well, I got it as a gift. I don't know where to get it. I can check it out for you. I found out the thing was $1,200.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
They were really expensive back then.
Like what?
Right.
At the end, they were what, like $100 or something?
Yeah.
Well, one of my favorite things to do is look up computer prices from the 80s.
Oh God.
Let's see. Here's a nice new computer from the 1980. 10 megabytes. So that's a whole lot of storage. 10 megabytes for only $6,000.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I think 1 terabyte for like $100.
God,
it's just crazy how things have gotten so cheap and so small and so fast in such a small amount of time. It's difficult to comprehend unless you've lived it. Like I can't imagine telling Ethan that, you see this phone that is basically garbage to us nowadays. This would have made the NASA moon landing computers look like a pile of crap.
Yeah,
right.
it's true.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Even when I upgraded iPhones, mine was whatever, a 7, 8, 9, something like that. I went to the 14. The guy, because by Apple standards, that's a pretty ancient phone, right?
I know, it's insane.
And so when I was trading my old one in, he looks at it and he goes, "This is a car," and he points to the new one. He goes, "This is a rocket ship."
Yep, it's true.
You're not going to believe how much better this phone is than the one you've had.
Well, let's see. The moon landing computer comparison I made. Let's see the iPhone in 2019. So whatever that one was, I wouldn't even know. But whatever the iPhone was in 2019, had the processing power of 100,000 moon landing computers.
God,
isn't that just insane?
That is amazing.
I can't even imagine what it's going to look like 30, 40 years from now.
Right.
I can't either because I'll be 115.
Well, there is that. 40 years from now, I will be almost 80.
Yeah.
Makes you think.
Yeah. Grandchildren?
Think.
How you doing, by the way, Daddy-O? Are you getting some rest? How's
Not
life?
a whole lot. I mean, it hasn't been horrible. I've been averaging probably about 6 hours, which is, that's not bad.
That's above the average for your time frame. Yeah.
But the problem is now Ethan has a cold. So last night I had to spend 2 hours just laying there with him as he didn't fall asleep.
Is he pretty sick or just a little?
He's not really even that sick. He just, I don't know, just sick enough not to fall asleep, I suppose. But he also had a very big day yesterday.
Oh, he did? What did he do?
Well, we went for a walk into town, and then we walked back home. And then we went to this like fire station open house thing where they had all their new they had this shiny new fire truck that they bought for
he loved that.
Yeah, it was, I think it cost like something upwards of $1 million. God, because that's how much fire trucks cost apparently. And yeah, he got to go in it and everything. One surprising thing he did was they had this like simulated house on fire kind of situation where it's like a little almost like a dollhouse. It's a scaled down house for kids, and they like flood it with this fake smoke, and you go in the front door and you're supposed to find your way out of the back door. And he went in and he like did it. He went in and we just sat out there waiting. And we're like, is he actually going to do this or not? And then all of a sudden he just shows up at the exit. We're like, huh. Good job, kid. He also, interestingly, he did a world first for that firehouse. He burgled it.
What did he steal?
He showed up at the back door with a toy that he had taken from it, and he gave it. He gave it to us, but the score wasn't over yet. He went back in, and he grabbed another toy and brought it to us.
Oh,
and we're like, okay, you can't steal from the house on fire. It's a very immoral thing to do.
He didn't know.
Although technically it's on fire, the toys are going to melt anyway.
Exactly.
Who's going to know?
It's very, very true.
If you're going to steal from any house, make it a house on fire.
What the hell?
Words to live by.
When are you coming to town next?
You know what? I don't have a date.
Why not?
I don't know. I come back there. I'll be back. I'll let you know. Yeah.
You always come to town when I'm out of town. You do.
That's true. I definitely time it so that you're gone. Andy came once when I was there somewhat recently.
Yeah, that has to have been a year ago almost.
Yeah, maybe 2. Yeah, it's been a minute.
Was it more than a year? Wow.
Maybe. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
They tore down the Improv of my neighbor down in Florida. That pissed me off.
Oh, really?
That was a really nice Improv, and they tore the whole. There was like a 12 theater movie theater, Andy.
Yeah, it's in the Fancy Pants Mall, right there.
Not anymore. That mall is gone.
Mm-hmm. The mall is gone.
Well,
I mean,
on the south side, it's still good there, but
it's
dying. Down a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. Oh yeah, I've worked that room. It's been years ago, but I did that one. Yeah. I like South Florida. I'll live in Florida someday.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
All right, Palomino. What is this?
Thanks, kids.
Thanks, kids. I like that.
My team's pretty good, and your team's great. Who knew?
I love it. I'm telling you. Now we're
possible.
We will talk to you next Tuesday.
Yeah, sounds good. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Sleep, Andy.
Oh, yeah. Get some sleep, Andy. Exactly.
I will try.
Kostaki Economopoulos, ladies and gentlemen, Now, of course, we go right to Timmy.
Yes, we do.
I saw you just popped up. Good timing.
Hey, I know. Perfect. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, sound good.
Oh, okay.
What about the background New York noise? Baseball cap on? What the hell's wrong with you?
It just looked good. Sometimes you put on a cap, it just looks good, man. So,
are you in a Caribou?
I'm in a Caribou. Yes, I
can talk because of the chalkboard.
Oh, you can. Oh,
yep. Over there, yeah.
Over there, yeah. So, Kostaki, does he like Kirk Cousins? Does he?
I think he's pretty fond of him right now. Yeah, we'll see how it all works out because
I think they were 1-1 before this weekend. Who did they beat?
God, I didn't even know. Andy, did he mention who they beat?
Who the Vikings beat?
No, who Atlanta beat.
Oh, that's right, the Falcons. Let's see. I don't even know how to Google this. Who did the Falcons just beat? I wonder if it'll know what
it'll know. About. Yeah, it'll know.
It looks like they lost to the Chiefs 2 days ago. They beat the Eagles on last Monday.
Okay, so they did lose KC.
That's impressive.
That's
impressive, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, they haven't been doing great, it looks like, actually.
I forgot to congratulate you on your new whippersnapper there, Andy.
Whippersnapper.
Thank you.
I like it. Well, he is a whippersnapper. That's a good way to put it. You know what? I'm going to run this by Andy, and I'm glad you're here, Tim, because you can be the judge of it all.
Yes,
Catherine tries to claim that Ethan doesn't really like her.
No, Alex says that.
Oh, no, it's Alex. It's not Mom.
You're used to, but then now he likes her.
That's right. Now Alex says that Ethan doesn't like her. Why would she think that?
I don't know.
Ethan likes everybody.
I mean, for a while, when he was a baby, he didn't really, but it was a long time ago.
I think he's got a great sense of humor.
It is weird, though. I mean, I will say that Lane, mine and Patty's youngest, didn't really buddy up to any guys.
Oh, really?
Brothers like and me. Time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There is something about that. I don't know why that is. It's just everybody's their own mind and personality, and I really don't know. I really don't know.
I understand. No question about it. It's a whole different deal. I love having kids and grandkids. Always have. I love having a wife too. I don't know if I mentioned that.
Yeah, maybe. Really? I don't know. I don't think you ever have.
No, never happened. Never bring it up.
You better mention it, otherwise she'll say, "Hey, how come you didn't mention it?" Then you're going to be in the doghouse.
Mm-hmm. Very true. No question. So, what's on the docket for you today, Pally?
Well, I'm trying to. It's a long night last night. I'm not going to review it now. I'll wait till Friday. Apart from the fact that I did see Megalopolis, which is Francis Ford Coppola's his opus. I don't even know how to describe this movie. It is just so bizarre.
Megalopolis.
At the same time. Well, it's about the fall of the Roman Empire, but set in modern day New York City, which is called New Rome.
Oh yeah, Mayor Franklin Cicero,
played by Giancarlo Esposito, one of the greatest ever. But you have him, you have Adam Driver, Nathalie Emmanuel. They're the three leads. But you also have Lawrence Fishburne, Talia Shire, John Voight, Shia LaBeouf, Dustin Hoffman. I mean, just this huge cast.
It says the budget was only $120 million.
Here's the deal with that 120 million, though. Francis financed it himself.
Oh, interesting.
Really?
Huh.
One thing I will say about that is, Costner did this thing with Horizon. Horizon to me, and I'm not alone here. I've gotten messages from people saying, "Oh, you're crazy. I loved Horizon. I thought Horizon was a disaster." People are going to want to call this one a disaster. I don't think so. I mean, the story has structure. It goes somewhere. It's just in the way that it gets there. It's so bizarre. It's like, what was this guy smoking? I mean, honest to God, it is. Yeah. I mean, and again, I'm not even going to begin to try to describe it to you. But look, I mean, it's the same thing with Costner and Coppola before too. I mean, because these guys have self-financed their stuff before. It's their money. Nobody's going to come up and tell them what to do. They're just going to do it. And, you know, Francis is 85, 86. That's what he wants to do. Let him do it. It's an idea that's been ticking around in his head for more than 3 decades. Let him do it.
And so what is it all about? I mean, kind of basically, what is it all about?
Yeah, again, I mean, I guess the best way to describe it is a story about the fall of the Roman Empire, just reconfigured to modern day. Yeah. And, you know, people that want to be stuck in their old ways, politicians, etc., and then visionaries who are spurned because of their great ideas. And even though they have the means to make a better future, there's resistance to that. So, yeah, it's so bizarre. I'll make a fool of myself trying to describe the things that happen in this movie. But it was really cool because I was at an IMAX screening at Roseville, which is about the farthest thing away from me.
Yeah.
And I didn't even see any other press members there. I might have been invited. I was invited to it. But, you know, it's these cinema folks, right? The cinephiles that I'm not going to try to make it a blanket sort of assumption. But, you know, when you get movie snobs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're going to come away from something like this saying, oh, yeah, I totally understood it. Coppola doesn't expect you to understand it. I think he kind of purposefully makes things that way. So you will watch it repeat times.
Try to figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You'll get more and more and more and more on it. And he said that was the case with Apocalypse Now. And I would agree with that. I don't know so much The Godfather. What it is about The Godfather that is so compelling that makes us go back and back and back. I don't know. But whatever the guy does, he's doing it right because he does make you want to see it over and over and over again.
Well, it is the best movie ever made, The Godfather. Don't you
think? It is. And again, you know, if this guy wants to spend $120 million of his own money to make the movie,
right?
Who's going to stop him? He's earned it.
He's got $120 million. You can do anything you want, basically.
Yeah, I think he has a lot more than that. The way he described this was cool. So this IMAX thing, it had a half an hour Q&A before that was live from the New York premiere. Spike Lee and De Niro were there. And then somebody, I don't know if it had something to do with the New York Film Festival or not. Because there was Tribeca already. I don't know how many film festivals there are or whatever. But there was a moderator there too. And, you know, he described how he got this made and he merged with another wine company and borrowed against the 25% investment he had in it. So I don't know. I think that the money's going to have to come from somewhere eventually, whether he makes it back from this movie or not. And making money on movies is not. I was telling a friend the other day, I'm not a financial guy, but don't ever invest in movies. That might be single stupidest thing you could do is to invest in a movie. And the reason I say that is because there's a studio, oddly enough, Lionsgate. Sometimes they're on the hook for the entire amount. Sometimes they're just distributors. But what happens is, or happened, I should say, in August, they had Borderlands, they had The Crow, they had Killer's Game, 3 movies in a row. Not only tanked in the worst sort of way. It's like,
I heard Borderlands was god awful.
Yeah. I mean, when I somehow managed to talk my youngest son into going.
Oh, well, and he played Borderlands.
He did, and he's been through these situations where the movie has sucked, so he thought, well, I'll go anyway, even though it's probably going to be dog shit. That's what he said, his words, not mine. After he gets out of the movie, I says, well, and he said, it was dog shit.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
What are you
So I guess that's the best way of describing it. But again, how do you amass so much talent? And I'm talking from the director, Eli Roth, to Kate Blanchett, to Kevin Hart.
I know.
How the hell Jamie Lee Curtis. How the hell do you go wrong with that? I don't get it. I don't get it. But they did. They lost their ass, and it costs a lot of money to produce. And it's funny because you'll post that a movie loses money, and they'll say, "Well, wait a second. It costs $100 million to make, and instead it made $100 million. How did it lose money?" Well, half of that's going to your theaters.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Right. Ticket sales, and sometimes the theaters, like overseas, for example, take a lot more. And then if you get somebody like Cate Blanchett, they're going to say, okay, I want a percentage of the gross. I'm not saying that's the case here, but I mean, there are just so many variables that go into a movie financing. And so, yeah, these movies, it's just, I don't know. I don't understand why you'd want to. There was a private investor that helped Coster finance Horizon. Two, excuse me. They haven't been revealed. I don't know how the hell they're going to make their money back. We'll see, but he put $35 million of his own money into it. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
At the same time, he said, "Well, I had to sell one of my ranches." Oh, okay.
Oh.
Freaking
They shouldn't say things like one of my ranches.
Yeah, Settle one of my houses. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So my kids will have one less thing to inherit. These guys will be fine. Francis will be fine. I don't know about the people that sunk their money in the Borderlands, though. Then you're talking studio money.
Yeah.
Studios are not as flush with cash as you might think. You could be a Disney, and then they go and think, how many years were they in the tank before Deadpool and Wolverine pulled Marvel? Yeah, Marvel pulled that out of there. Yeah. So, and Inside Out too. I mean, even Pixar was on this big downslide for a long, long time. So it's a risky business. And I don't understand why anybody would want to stick their money into it. Unless they just know, maybe they'll just say, hey, tax write-off. Maybe.
I guess if they need a big tax write-off like that, whatever.
Did you see episode 2 of Tulsa King?
No, I have not watched that yet. That's for tonight, as a matter of fact. So we'll be watching it tonight. I really like the first episode a lot. I just like him anyway.
Yeah. I mean, again, I say it every single time, but the guy's humor is so amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Humor. Yep. And I mean, I guess it's kind of in a way poking fun at himself and the serious roles he did before. But I mean, I just think the guy is genuinely funny.
He is.
And of course, we're talking about Sylvester Stallone, and we can't assume that everybody has seen Tulsa King. But if you haven't, Paramount Plus. Season 1's there. You're going to plow right through that. And then season 2 just started, and it's one a week.
I like it. Any closing words, sir?
Well, did you get through The Perfect Couple?
No. We're taking our time. I go through 2 episodes. We got 4 left to go because I don't want to burn through it.
Amazing series.
Yeah, it is.
Amazing. I told Mike Bryan about it, and I believe he's through it already, and he didn't. I think it did kind of run out of gas at the end a little bit, but
did it? Okay.
Yeah, but it's still, Nicole Kidman is as good as it gets. She is so fantastic, and Liev Schreiber.
Yep.
Oh, Eve Hewson. I might have mentioned this. The bride to be.
Yeah.
That was supposed to get married.
Yep.
I mentioned, I think last week, Paul David Hewson, U2's Bono.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so she even gets better as the series goes on. So it is terrific.
All right, Pally. We'll talk to you later in the week.
On Friday, I'll have my full review of Megalopolis and try to figure out what the hell happened when I went there last night.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
All right. Have a great day. We'll talk Friday.
Thanks a lot. Timmy Lammers, ladies and gentlemen. So, Andy, any closing words?
No, I don't think so.
That's everything.
Just got to go home and.
So the boy's a little sick.
Yeah, he doesn't seem too bad.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. All right, we'll see you back tomorrow.
Yep.
Thanks. Bye.
Got a picture in my pocket, reminds me of this rose before. Every time I hear the same, reminds me how you talking my